Time, gentlemen, please. On the Matt Smith era.
Not a moment too soon.
Really?
What?
You glad the Matt Smith era's over?
No,
I'm surprised by that.
I'm not.
Hmm.
I was quoting Doctor Who, innit?
Change, my dear. You're just missing Colin, don't lie.
Everybody misses
We
Colin.
genuinely... We were talking... Hi, everyone. Welcome to Doctor Review.
Oh,
I'm
hey,
Chris.
I am.
And the other day we were talking about this. We were like, do you ever miss... do you ever miss watching the classic run? And you were like, oh yeah, all the time.
So much.
I was like, yeah, me too. I was like, we could just dip back into it, but then we don't kind of want to... I guess we don't want to like completely derail the momentum in a way of going through it all. That being said, at the end of the next era, we will be specifically doing some catch-up content that has been released in the years since we started this marathon. Specifically, a few animated reconstructions from the 60s.
I can tell you one spoiler.
Oh yeah.
It's got the Doctor in it.
I hope that picked up on mic.
It's got the Doctor in it.
Well, as you can see, this one's all about the... Bless you. Ahead of time.
Oh, you wasted that, bless you, so my sneeze is gone.
This one's all about the Doctor. I have 4 figures here. Based on this special. Well, technically I've got 2 based on this special. This one here is based on this special. Although he doesn't have the bow tie, so it's inaccurate.
Outrageous.
And this one here is based on this special. This was a regenerating 11th Doctor figure.
Yeah.
That also came with this old man head.
Just a random old man's head.
Yeah, but exactly, because that wouldn't be on that costume.
Yeah.
And it came with like this head, which makes sense, and a chest piece with a bow tie and a chest piece without, and a Capaldi head. This was a figure. This figure here, the old man, is actually meant to have a Smith head with a red top hat. This is the one from the Snowmen release. But sod him, because I've given him the old man head, because I think the younger Doctor head looks better on the darker variant of this that was released at B&M years later. Who's holding? You see who's got in his hand? Balls.
Hey!
Hey! And then this was the single-carded re-release of the purple-suited Doctor later. I just thought I'd crack out all the stops, considering all of these feature in the show at some point in this one episode.
And what other chance would you have?
Well, exactly, because after this, the action figures we're going to be displaying will be very few and far between, because they stopped making them. At least regularly enough that it'll make for interesting displays going forward. I don't even have a Capaldi TARDIS. A Capardis, if you will.
God.
So we won't even be able to display that. But yeah, so this is an odd duck. This one. If you're watching this, we assume you've already watched Time and the Doctor. If this is your exposure to the story, maybe go away and watch it, because we're not going to dwell like
Would
on
you
a
go
recap.
away and watch it?
Yeah.
God. That was
initial thoughts, just like general vibes off the back of it. I quite like this. I think it's a really fun Christmas vibed story. It doesn't feel like Christmas is shoehorned in. It feels like the setting at Clara's and then the town just being called Christmas is a lovely, like, oh, typical. You've come from Christmas Day, we've ended up somewhere called Christmas. That's kind of sweet. It doesn't feel weird. Yeah, you thought it was all right?
Yeah.
I don't think it works as a regeneration story, because we're now in this weird place where the last story for the Doctor has become like an event, and that's only really happened a few times, hasn't it? Like Baker's last one is very like Legopolis is very much treated in the story as this is a big deal. Like the Master's back in a new body, maths is going to destroy the universe, entropy. And there's this mysterious figure like stalking him everywhere, and essentially it's an allusion to death following him wherever he goes. That was treated like a bit of a blockbuster kind of thing.
Yeah.
Caves of Androzani has this is a finale for this character feel to it as well.
Yeah.
And then you don't really get that again until... Well, Tennant. Like, Eccleston's last one doesn't feel like his last one.
No.
Until the end is that little PS, that little epilogue of oh, what's happening to his hand? Wait, and he kind of realises what's happening and accepts it, and the scene continued.
Well, having not watched Doctor Who properly, when I saw the Ninth Doctor's first and only series, after that I thought they regenerated after every series. So I was like, oh, so Doctor Who obviously wasn't,
Wasn't that long, was it?
But you told me that, there was, there was bad blood, so it was cancelled and stuff like that. And I thought, oh, right, okay.
But this is...
And then as we, started going out properly and stuff like that, and you started collecting the DVDs whilst you were in London and stuff, I was like, whoa, there's a lot.
Every time you came back down to the flat in Ealing, you were like, that shelf of grey DVD sleeves is getting fuller.
It was like, hey Lou, look at all the Doctor Who DVDs that are taking over my flat. But I also bought you Death Note, so that's a good thing, right?
Oh, was that how you bounced out? You're like, God, he's really getting into this Doctor Who thing. That's a little bit too nerdy for me. Oh, he bought me Death Note manga. Okay.
Manga! I think there was actually one time where you'd bought Doctor Who DVDs and you'd said, oh, Lou, look at those DVDs over there. Oh. And I was like, oh, yeah, great. And you were like, no, go and have a look at them. It's really cool. Look at the stories. And I was like, oh, no. I'll look at them later, boo. And you were like, look at the DVDs, and underneath was like 3 Death Note books.
Yeah.
It's like,
I kept buying them for you in batches.
I'm so sorry. You were trying to be nice, and I was so negative. I'm so sorry.
And yet here we are now with you going, oh, Miss Colin Baker.
Colin.
Oh, Colin, you were the best that you could be. So
I thought they regenerated after every series, so...
Yeah, so does this feel like what you would expect a last story for a Doctor to feel like because of that?
Very big and dramatic.
And yet at the same time it's very quaint. Like there are high stakes, but it takes place in a small town in what looks like just a little village. A little village in the countryside.
I guess it's kind of a bit like...
So I quite like the visual stakes being quite small. I think that's
the Doctor
interesting.
Was told that he's going to, spoilers, die on Trenzalore.
And then we go through the events of Name of the Doctor.
Yeah,
and he survives.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, he's unstoppable. He's going to die on this.
Oh, the town of Christmas is on the planet Trenzalore, like centuries before they visited it. Maybe thousands of years. It begins with the so there's again really brief. There's a signal being beamed out to the universe calling for the Doctor.
Oh yeah.
And all of these various races, like the Daleks and the Cybermen, their fleet, and the other interested parties who've recognised the signal, have gathered around this planet. But they can't get any closer because the I can't remember what they're called now. The Church of, you got it there on the wiki. The Church of the something. They've got a different name at first.
Where you got to be naked.
The Church of the Papal Mainframe are guarding the planet. They're staving everyone off, and obviously they have enough authority apparently that like the Daleks and everyone are like, yeah, no, we're not going to go any further.
Oh, the Papal Mainframe.
Church of the Papal Mainframe, and the Doctor's trying to find out information about why everyone's gathering there. So we get implication that he's been at this for a while because he shows up on a ship showing that he's a friend. Look, I've got the severed eye stalk of a Dalek, so I'm friendly. And it turns out it's a Dalek ship. He's like, oh, bollocks. And he gets off, and then he's got a new companion. Between his adventures with Clara, he's been hanging out with a Cyberman head that's been reprogrammed called Handles.
Handles.
Played by Kayvan Novak.
That's crazy. That was not anything like him.
Well, that's the thing as well, because he's a mimic. Like Kayvan Novak came to prominence.
All I can hear of him is like this.
His Nandor voice from What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, I wasn't watching Face Jacker or Phone Jacker, which is where he came to household name status. And this is around that period. So him just doing a voice of a robot is like, yeah, sure. I can understand why you cast him. It's a fun little bit of stunt casting.
Weird.
Handles is a companion who deserved more, and that's the end of that lecture. Because in one story,
so you really
in one story, you're like, could we not have spent more time with handles being part of the TARDIS? This is kind of a fun idea.
Yeah.
But it works because then when he dies of old age, to illustrate the point of this isn't going to last forever, eventually, Doctor, you are going to die and this will all have been in vain, is illustrated by handles passing, a robot head passing away after a few hundred years because he can't get parts for it there anymore, and he's been doing what he can to keep it going.
Why are we sad about it?
Because when Moffat works well, he works well, and Handles is an example of him working well. Handles is a plot device to, elevate the emotional struggle and arc of the Doctor in this story, and illustrate the idea that, like, eventually he will outlive his friends, and that's depressing to watch them die and pass away. But in this story, we also get to see that in reverse, because Clara comes back to Trenzalore twice during the events of it, showing the Doctor has been there for hundreds of years at this point. There's a great book, tangent, there's a great book called Tales of Trenzalore that I've got, which is like 3 or 4 short stories about attempted invasions during this time. Like the Crinoids from Seeds of Death. I always forget which one it is, Death or Doom. The 4th Doctor one with the plants in the big manor house.
Yeah.
Like the Crinoids that try to invade.
Oh, with the crushing machine.
Yes. Oh, God, yeah. In that story, he has his leg ripped off, and it's replaced with a wooden prosthetic, and the only telltale sign is that he hobbles. When you come back to him after the first time skip in this, he's hobbling, so the writer's obviously gone, I'm going to explain the hobble. He's got a fake leg. It's like, fair enough.
What?
There's an Auton short story in there about the Autons getting all up in that piece. It's very good. But, yeah, I love the setting of Gallifrey is indeed out there in a pocket universe like the Doctor, they tried to do. Because I think when Day of the Doctor ends, the 3 Doctors involved don't know if they succeeded. They just hope they did. This was their attempt at maybe saving everything.
Because they don't remember it, do they?
Yeah, but also, like, they didn't know at the time if it would work for definite. Because remember, the Time Lord General says, like, we'll be lost. And he says, yes, but you'll still have hope. Which is a point. It's like, it's better than the alternative. I've seen the alternative, never again. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like the whole point was they didn't choose to obliterate the 2 species. They chose to attempt to hide Gallifrey. So it's either both species die, or the Daleks get pretty mashed up in their own fire, and Gallifrey maybe survives. And that alone is like a more noble attempt at this than the other one. But they don't know if it's going to work. This feels too soon. The Gallifrey re-emergence feels way too soon.
Yeah.
And we're not just saying that because we watched like Day of the Doctor and Time of the Doctor a week apart. These episodes were a month and 2 days apart when they went out in the first place.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, they were too near together. And the reason I say that is because the end of Day of the Doctor is so uplifting, with him being like, oh, my scene with the curator, and then the little Clara asked me if I dream sequence. Brilliantly set up that the Doctor is like, oh my God, I have a new destiny in life. I have a new mission. Like, Gallifrey might be out there, and I'm going to go and find it. And then in this story, he learns where it is, and he's like, yeah, no, we can't let it out. We can't let it out. And the Church of the Papal Mainframe agree. Tasha Lem, who's a great designed character, it's the least Moffat put your boner away female lead that he's created, simply on the basis that she's not in leather or a suit, but she still has a bunch of character traits that fit the template he keeps using for a female villain / shady character. However,
she's got her own, like her
bed is an altar and her altar's a bed. Yes, I know. That's
dirty.
But like with Alex Kingston, when she's given moments to breathe as River Song, Orla Brady, who plays Tasha Lem, has some wonderful chemistry with Matt Smith. You believe these characters have encountered each other several times before. That's true. Because it's implied that previous incarnations have met with / absolutely gone to town on the altar with Tasha Lem in the past. And I said to you, Dana, at the time, because she said, like, I like the new body, it's very streamlined or whatever, and he says, taking it for a spin or whatever, like, what do you think? And I said, which Doctor has she had sex with? And you went, 6th. Like, you didn't even hesitate, you just went, 6th Doctor. It's like, Yeah. Maybe the 8th. He's a big romantic.
Maybe.
And let's be honest, if you were running a church, if you were like sworn to celibacy, sworn celibacy in the name of your Dark Lord, and Paul McGann rocked up in the doorway dressed in bloody like Victoriana cowboy gear with his big old green coat and his hair all floppy.
Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. You just no question. You're not even asking him what it's about. You're just like, yeah, all right, come on, let's go, Paul.
Doors open. Come on, let's go.
Imagine if it was Troughton and he was a really like embarrassed lover.
No, he definitely wasn't.
Troughton's doctor? Are you kidding me?
No, I reckon like a bit of realism would slip through. I don't know.
Jeez, no, you're just thinking about sexy Troughton now. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
You're thinking about Patrick Troughton, not the second Doctor. You swine. Besides, the second Doctor would never betray his one true love, Jamie. So
that's true.
Yeah, I like Tasha Len. I like the design, the weird eye makeup, the strange hair. Like, I believe that this is someone who is not human, but is humanoid and has a position of authority. What's really freaking weird is the whole, actually the Church of the Papal Mainframe, in the events of this story, become the Church of the Silence, which then, during the time she specifically is monitoring Trenzalore over those hundreds of years, is when the Church of the Silence grows into different departments and the Covarian chapter forms and goes off back into time to do the River Songs stuff, and it's just like, what? Like in this we learn that the Silents, with a T, are just confessional priests.
What?
That's all they are. So the ones in Series 6 are ones that are spun off from that, have gone, actually, we're going to be evil bastards and we're going to get involved in this plan instead and wear suits and manipulate humanity since the wheel and the fire. Just like,
what is even happening?
Question, why do so many people in Moffat's era have access to time travel? Weird that, isn't it? Well, without the Time Lords being around, maybe they've been able to utilise and we're not monitoring it, so they've been able to use it for their own get. No, that's not. No.
What?
No. But I do like that she's basically, we can't let Gallifrey out because the Time War will start again. That's why the Daleks are here, that's why the Cyber Fleet, and they mention others, I can't remember which ones now, but they mention like other fleets where you go, okay, that's a callback. That's a classic series callback. But it's like, when we talk about classic series callback, we get a Punch and Judy show with a monoid. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah.
And we were like, do you
think
the Punch and Judy tent has a security kitchen? It was a cute little detail. And I like the fact that he's obviously passed the time by telling kids of the school and things like that over the years stories of what he's been up to. Because there's like drawings all inside his little basement where the crack in time is of like the Rachnos and Sontarans and things like that. It's like, that's cute. So Gallifrey is in a pocket universe and it's going, oi, come here. We need to know it's the Doctor, and to prove it's the Doctor, we want your real name.
Yeah.
So this fulfills the show's prophecy of, on the fields of Trenzalore, on the hour of the 11th, which makes no sense even in this story. This story makes that make no sense at all. Silence will fall when the question is asked. A question that must never ever be answered. The oldest question of all, hidden in plain sight. The question you've been running from all your life. Doctor
Wayne. Oh, who?
And we thought in Name of the Doctor that was, because his name unlocked his grave, his tomb. And it was about, can't do that, because if the Great Intelligence goes in there and messes with his timeline, like they do in that story, civilizations across the billions of years will be affected because of people he didn't save and places he didn't liberate from villainous rules and all this stuff. And then, of course, Clara goes into the thing, splits herself into different people across time and corrects that.
Yeah.
So that prophecy, as convoluted as it is, was closed. It was done. It was finished. The only thing that was kind of left hanging was the cracks in time. Like, we assume that the Silence tried to blow up the TARDIS. That's what we assume. It's never confirmed. We now learn that no, oh god, the cracks in time were caused by, or maybe were caused by, the Time Lords breaking through from the pocket universe they're in, which doesn't explain how that was erasing things throughout time, or how the TARDIS exploding into the sun exacerbated that, because the TARDIS exploding in the sun definitely did, because the ending of Cold Blood is the Doctor reaching into the crack with the hanky round his hand and pulling out a shard of the TARDIS.
Yeah.
So it's like, that doesn't make sense then. They can't be the Time Lords. Unless the Time Lords they've found one of those cracks in reality and they're using that to reach through.
I've got to be honest with you.
It's convoluted and stupid.
When we were watching it,
we stopped, didn't we?
I was
paused
thinking,
and went, right.
I don't know what's going on here. I couldn't keep up with it. I still don't know what was going on, even though you've just sat there and explained it.
Like, on the surface, it works fine. The Time Lords are in a pocket dimension. The plan worked. But now they're reaching out, asking for the Doctor, so they know it's safe to come back through. Simple. That works fine. Yeah? And the Doctor's hesitant to do it, as are the Church and the Papal Mainframe, because there are Daleks and Cybermen and everyone outside who, the moment Gallifrey shows up, they're going to open war again. Yeah? So it's this whole thing of, we need to bring it back, but we can't do it like this.
Right.
Like, this is too dangerous. That makes sense. But they're coming through a crack in time, which then makes you think about how that started, and it has nothing to do with this. And there are some very weird throwaway lines in this that try to sort of like just go, but it's like, from what we've heard, what we've been told by someone, and other bits of info that I've got out and about, this was rushed. Not the production, but like the story was a rushed attempt to close off all the Matt Smith arcs in one. Because this was not meant to be his last appearance. He was meant to do at least another series. We don't know why that changed, whether Matt just wanted to do more stuff. Like, obviously during the production, after the production of Day of the Doctor, he went to do that Ryan Gosling directed film, and he shaved his head for that. And
wore a wig in
this, and it's so obvious. To the point where Moffat writes it in as a gag.
No, yeah.
That he's wearing a wig, and when Clara's like, "Did you just get really bored?" And he's like, "Yeah." And it's like, okay, that's funny, but it doesn't take away from the fact that they just obviously couldn't find a wig that looked like Matt Smith's hair. They tried. There's a few shots at the start of this, like when he first shows up on the Dalek ship, and he's just wearing like a poncho around his shoulders, and he's in his waistcoat and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's holding the Dalek eye stalk. You see him from one side, the side where his parting is, and it looks like his hair. The moment you see him face front, the fringe is a dead giveaway that this is not Matt Smith's hair.
We were watching it and you were going on about it, and I was like, it's absolutely fine, what are you talking about? And then he faced front on, and I was like, oh no. Right?
And it's the same one in the 50th trailer. And it's just like, once you notice it, you're like, nope, nah. So maybe he wanted to leave to work on more production stuff and, make more films and everything. He wanted to try and fit more adventures in. He was like, the only way I'm going to be able to do this is leave Doctor Who now. I don't think that means you have to tie up all of his arcs. You don't have to do that. You can carry them over. Like, obviously you want things to feel fresh in the new show, but you've only just found Gallifrey. You could have saved that for later if you wanted. Give him one more adventure where he's like, right, we're going to go find Gallifrey, and then something gets in the way, and it's his last adventure. And then make the objective of Series 8, right, you, me, Clara, we're going to do this, we're going to find it, we're going to figure it out. Yeah. Because we get a bit of that at the end of Series 8, and it's a shite payoff.
Yay!
Yeah, you barely know what's coming next. And I'm interested to see your reactions. Things that don't work, let's get out of the way. I hate the fact the only Sontarans we see are comedy Sontarans, because it solidifies the idea that, that's all they are now. Yeah. It's not just Strax being a unique character. They're all going to be stupid now. Yeah. This does not get reset or fixed until the next proper Sontaran story in Jodie's third series, where they are great. And then they show up in the finale of that series, and half of them are comedy. And it's like, what is happening to the Sontarans? Please, dear God, what is happening? Wooden Cyberman. Cool design.
Yeah.
Didn't really add anything. Felt like that would have been better saved for like a story where like one of them is badly damaged on a primitive planet and has to like rebuild itself.
Yeah.
You could have done a really cool story there. But I guess Chris Chibnall does something like that with a Dalek in Resolution in 2019. So, whatever. And that story's pretty damn great. So it's like, fair enough. Angels in the Snow feels like Moffat was just, I've got a really great idea for an angel story, but we're not going to be able to fit it in now. We'll just sort of do a short scene from what would have been an angel story.
Yeah.
Because it's a great visual, but then they just stay out of the town. I know obviously in the montage of him fighting monsters, you briefly see like mirrors at the border of the town, and them obviously frozen in place staring at the mirrors, but it's just like, does that work? I suppose they're being observed, maybe, but also if the that which contains the image of an angel itself becomes an angel, does that count for reflections? Like, nah.
Where's that? Sorry.
The silence joining the fight is just there for a cool visual, basically, of him walking down the street twirling his cane with silhouettes of these 7-foot-tall toes in suits walking around. They've got turtlenecks this time. They've got turtlenecks.
Oh, smart toes in suits.
I just want to get the stuff I dislike out of the way. Hit me with stuff you dislike. I want to get that out of the way because I want to talk about the positive stuff as we wrap up on this one.
I dislike that it's so convoluted that...
Well, the art.
Because
again, like in episode, just protecting something in small town from alien invaders for years, that works fine.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
But I struggle to imagine kids staying focused on this. I really do.
With that stuff, no, I get you. I get you there.
It's very, like you say, very rushed. But I don't hate it. I don't hate Clara in it because, I mean, she shows it...
Clara works really well in this.
She shows emotion quite well, actually. Like,
Jenna Coleman's a good actor. She is.
She's so sad. Yeah. Like, I don't think I mentioned it in the 50th.
Yeah, the Doctor, when she's pleading with him and stuff.
Yeah, at the end. It's
I knew you did it. I just never imagined it be you. Like this face, the Doctor I know.
You don't have to do it, yeah.
And when she looks at the War Doctor and stuff, and it's like, I could tell you, like, your eyes, you're so much younger. Like, she has these wonderful moments with the characters. And I think she has some wonderful moments with him in this. A lot of the first half of this is comedy chemistry, where they're having to just kind of react to stuff. But that leads me to something I really hate. Good God, I hate the nudity joke in this.
Yeah, there's no need for it. We were talking about it at the time. There's no need at all.
Like, it would make sense if it was just maybe like at the Christmas do or whatever, it's just like,
well, it's just him at that point.
Like, I need you here now. Not her going down to the TARDIS to bring him in, but her just being like, I need my boyfriend here or whatever, and he just shows up. They're reacting weird. She's not, and he's like, oh right. Yeah, sorry, I was getting changed, or whatever, like, something that happened in the prologue, maybe, was it caught an explosion, or whatever, yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I was getting changed, I turned on hologram, but I've just realised it might only be a one-person deal, like, it's whatever, oh dear. But even then, it's like, why is he naked in front of her family? Her dad's totally not played by the same actor, is he?
No, and also, he doesn't.
And her stepmom seems like a massive arsehole. What a downgrade for a dad, Jesus Christ.
I didn't realise that he was naked until he said it. Because their reaction, I don't know, they didn't seem genuine.
Oh no, they definitely were. But Moffat played it for the sex joke, because the grandma was just eyeing him up and being like, hello.
Or maybe
because she's looking at his genitals.
His genitals.
Yeah.
Was the dad just like not looking at him?
Yeah, the moment he best bit of acting in the whole episode. This isn't to shit on like what Smith does and that in this, but best acting in the whole episode is Clara's dad when the Doctor first walks in. The very first thing he does is he just like turns away subtly, like eyes looking at the table, like it's brilliant.
Oh, I must just not have seen that.
I think you were just trying to get your head around how the naked thing worked, to be honest, because like then it means later that when they're at the church, they're naked. But Clara's taken that pill, so the two of them see each other in clothes.
Yeah.
But they're naked.
They are naked.
And then they go down to Trenzalore. So they're naked. Walking around Trenzalore. Right.
That's
so why
absurd.
doesn't the couple act weird around them? They said there's like a truth field gag, something like, we've not got any clothes on. Oh, or whatever it is. Yeah.
That was after that, though. Wasn't it?
Yeah, but they get sent down there from the church.
Yeah.
So they can see each other wearing clothes.
Doesn't the Doctor do something to put her clothes back on?
I have no idea.
Because he says you'll warm up in a second.
Oh, no, they're not wearing clothes. When the angels attack, when they first get there and before the angels attack, it's cold. She says it's freezing. He says, don't worry, the whatever it is, it's got like a warm feel that should simulate the feel of being dressed.
Oh my god, you're right!
So they're naked on
Trenzalore.
Yeah. But no one acknowledges it and the plot moves on from it very quickly.
Wait, it's a truth. There's a truth field thing, isn't there? So you can only tell the truth. What? It's absurd. Because it normally would have been like, I can see your knob.
Exactly. Like the fact they don't say it's really dumb. Like it's a joke that's just there because Moffat's being horny on Maine again. It just doesn't. I mean, it gave us one of the greatest YouTube poop moments of all time, which is Clara. It's just naked. Like that's hilarious. But ways to do a joke like this in a family show that don't feel weird and overdrawn. Oh yes, you're naked. Oh yes, like with the Metacrisis Doctor. That's funny. It's brief. Well, when he's grown from the hand, he's just sat there. It's brief. It's of course he is. He's just been grown from a hand.
Oh my god! No! I'm so sorry.
I think you just broke your ring light.
I thought I pulled the wrong lead. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. Are you okay?
God.
You know what this is?
Before this, Christopher was like, "You're not going to move the cable, are you?" I was like, "No."
We've lost a prop.
Oh no.
Oh, it's a really dainty one.
What is it?
It's his walking stick.
Oh, we'll find it.
Oh, I hope so.
We'll find it. It's quite big in comparison to a tiny, tiny lightsaber.
Yeah, but we've got a curse in this house. Should we tell everyone about that?
You can tell.
I've dropped a knife from a Leela figure from Doctor Who, and I've dropped a lightsaber. You think it's on the floor? Yeah, I can see it. Hey! I've dropped a lightsaber from a Star Wars, the vintage series Luke Skywalker, and the lightsaber took 8 years to show up again, even though it hadn't left the room it was in. And Leela's knife still hasn't shown up to this day. And that was lost about 5 years ago.
We'll probably find it when we move out.
Oh, I think someone else will find it.
What's this tiny knife on the floor?
The borrowers! They live here!
Oh my god, funny move!
Yeah. The naked joke is just, it goes on too long. It doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
It means that when the Silence is stalking Clara in that corridor, she's just naked. It's like, why? There's no need for that. There's also no need for the regeneration limit nonsense. I think it was only added to give a feeling of heightened tension for the story. Where the Doctor talks to Clara and Clara's like, right, so... But it's alright, because like, if you die here protecting them, you'll just come back again. So you can carry on. Because obviously that's what would happen if he had more regenerations. Yeah. She's like, you're the 11th, because you have 13 lives, 12 regenerations, and he makes that clear in this. He sits her down and talks about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, right, that's not how this works. Because I'm not the 11th. Are you forgetting Mr. Grumpy or whatever it is he says, like the War Doctor? She's like, right, so you're 12. And he's like, no. Because, and speaking of Journey's End, it is recontextualised that when the 10th Doctor siphoned leftover regeneration energy from his handy hand in the jar, which at the time was like, he's been shot, he's going to regenerate, but luckily that hand from when he was regenerating has been in stasis, like, for the most part ever since.
Yeah. And
it's got some regeneration energy left over, and it just patches him up. Something which in the Moffat era we've seen him giving regeneration energy to River to repair her wrist and things like that. Her giving all of her remaining regenerations to him to save him from the poison and Let's Kill Hitler. Like, we've seen that. So Moffat has used that idea himself since Russell did it in Journey's End. Yeah. But it is explained here.
That wasn't me.
Yeah, it was.
Was it?
Yeah. You got the cable near you. It's explained in this.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's explained in this that... oh god, the bottom of it's broken. It's explained in this that... the hell was I saying? It's explained in this that was actually his 10th self, his 10th Doctor, 11th incarnation, regenerating into another one of himself because he had, quote, vanity issues, unquote. Implying that the 10th Doctor, after that story, is a separate incarnation who looks, thinks, and acts exactly the same. The only reason he's decided this is to add tension to this, the idea that if once I'm dead, Gallifrey's open season. Except it isn't. Because Gallifrey can't be brought out unless he helps them and confirms he's there. Because throughout this whole story, Gallifrey don't know he's there.
Yeah.
Like, he never says that he's there or says his name to them, yeah?
Yeah.
Like, you know, that, like, so Gallifrey would never re-emerge. He's mostly he's protecting the people of the town. That's why he stays there.
Yeah.
He's not protecting Gallifrey, he's protecting the people of the town.
Are there other people on the planet?
It's implied that it's just that town. Or at least that town's the only one where, like, it's being monitored by outside forces. Because if that's the case, Doctor, use your TARDIS, get the population of Christmas off of Trenzalore, find them somewhere else, because they're constantly under siege. I don't think they're going to turn around and go, no, we want to stay here. They're going to be like, yeah, please. If you could take us somewhere else, that'd be great. Yes, please. Take them somewhere else, and then when you die, no one can get to Gallifrey and it's fine. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, when you die, their hope of escaping disappears forever, sure, but they won't be pulled out and murdered by everyone. It's just... So I understand why they're like, no, we want to make it so that if he dies, he dies. And that's... But the thing is, you don't have to do that with regeneration. You've established in his era, an era you're expecting us to remember intrinsically because of the things in this story. You are hoping we remember all of his 3 series so that we get what's happening in this one. We have seen him killed before he can regenerate.
Mm.
So that peril's still there. If he is even, after the War Doctor, if he is actually the 12th body, the 11th Doctor is the 12th incarnation, and has one life left after, he could still be killed before he regenerates. The threat still makes sense, just, you know what I mean? A bad guy's not going to come down and partially kill him. You know what I mean? They'll just kill him. They'll shoot him till he's dead. I think it's done to create a sense of tension and finality to this, and make this be an end. Oh my god, this is the end game for me completely, and I'm going to die. And it's very fitting for the Doctor. The end of their life, like, in a way where they can't come back from it after that. They choose to spend it defending a small town from monsters. Very Doctor, very 5th series, fairy tale vibe. Capaldi goes on in the next series, there's an episode called Flatline, where he announces himself as the man who stops the monsters, and it's like, yeah, that's definitely in Moffat's philosophy for the character.
Is that the one with the scribbly line people?
The graffiti, yes.
Yeah.
So it's like the stuff that... Sorry, just point out the dog's legs there. The dog's sleeping next to Northern Crest. And you can't be trusted with wires.
I didn't do anything then. I literally didn't do anything.
Can you pull the plug it's plugged into a little closer? There we go.
That's as far as it'll go.
Oh my god. This is the Matt Smith era not wanting to finish.
Hold on, I've just realised what's going on.
What?
It's twisted.
It did a twisty.
There we go.
There we go. Oh Jesus. Bit of slack. Right, anyway. Chuffy now. It's relying on you having that knowledge. If that's the case, if he cannot regenerate after this incarnation, why did he start regenerating at Lake Silencio before he was shot for the second time? Why did he have regeneration energy left to give to River to repair her wrist in The Angels Take Manhattan? Why was there an additional Doctor after him present at the events of putting Gallifrey in a pocket universe? If he apparently is not going to regenerate again? And I know there'll be people now watching this going, oh, the Timeless Children even makes that more complicated. That's several series away. It's not canon as of this moment. It will be canon later. But the Doctor, as far as they're concerned, sent the calculations back to the Hartnell incarnation so that by the 10th and 11th incarnation of the Doctor, they would have like the calculations needed to do whatever, because the TARDIS has been doing the readings over. Yeah, same software, different casing.
My brain's melting.
No, sir. All 13 eyes shot. Capaldi was there. Smith's doctor, who was leading that plan, must have known that there was another one there that he doesn't remember. Do you know what I mean? So it has to be the next guy along. So what I'm saying is, it feels so haphazard that in this suddenly, he's like, no, I'm the last one. When Moffat's done several things in the last few years showing that, no, he's able to regenerate again. He definitely is. And the other thing I really don't like is we find out what was behind his door in the God Complex, and it was just the crack in time. It's really boring, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was so mysterious in that episode. And it takes away from that, like, pretty much perfect episode in Series 6. It's,
The dog just did a big sigh.
Yeah, she did.
And I can relate.
Things we like. I love the weird ongoing turkey subplot. Cooking the Christmas turkey in the TARDIS.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's just such a weird, fun little, like, oh, just put it in there and...
Would that not be dangerous?
Well, that's the point. He said, like, it'll either cook it or regress it to an egg or something like that.
But, like, if it's got TARDIS energy in it...
Oh, no! The family's stomachs will regenerate so they can eat a second Christmas dinner.
Oh.
There you go. That's how that works.
What about vegetarians?
Cook
the carrots in the TARDIS.
Oh God! Other stuff we like. I like Matt Smith's prosthesis in this.
Yeah.
I think the two older versions of the 11th Doctor are a great makeup job.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that they're just going all in on the Christmassy vibes, with the town of Christmas being very Victorian in its like dress sense and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, not strictly. It's not like we're going back to the snowmen where everyone's like dressed like they actually would be. It's Victorian inspired, but it feels right, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I love that he repairs toys.
So
like
cute.
when it's a quiet period, he just mends the toys for the children to play with.
So cute.
Because it's like tiny little saving the day moments, like really little ones. But it's I love that horribly like upsetting and believable moment toward the end where Clara comes back and he looks so happy, but he obviously hasn't got the strength to get out of the chair. She pulls a cracker with him, and he can't quite do it, so she holds his hand too, and God, that's a beautiful little moment. It's so sweet, and it is gorgeously bookended in the next Christmas special in a way that would be incredible if that episode ended with that scene.
Oh, I think I've seen a bit of that.
We'll get to that. There's a lovely moment.
Nice house, though.
Yeah, and it's like, how's she affording that on a teacher's salary? I love that we see she finally has her own flat. Makes sense that now she's a full-time teacher.
Yeah.
Also means we're never going to see Archie and Angie again, thank Christ. But
Grateful.
But I hate the fact that they used the same filming location as the Powell estate from series 1 and 2, which, like, okay, fine, redress the locations, but they use one of the most...
From a different angle.
They use one of the most visually obvious shots from the very first episode of the revival.
Is it the
Them
stairs?
legging it down the stairs.
Yeah.
Those stairs get like 2 hero shots in this, and then she and the Doctor walk from the flats to the TARDIS the same trajectory as the walk. When the Doctor and Rose are first walking away before the turn of the Earth moment.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same shot, and it's like, don't, because you're just distracting us, making us think, is this the Powell estate? Why? Like, stop making the universe feel small. It'd be like them constantly going back to Coal Hill School after the 50th.
I'm assuming that happens.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, she works there now.
Yeah.
And a spin-off's going to be set there.
We're not watching that.
Not the whole thing.
Oh!
So,
What?
yeah. We did a Sarah Jane and Torture retrospective, boo. We are doing a class one too.
No.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sick that day. I can't come in.
In like a month and a half's time.
I can't come in.
Don't worry, I won't put you through the torture I had of watching the whole series. I'll just put you through like 2 episodes.
I thought you loved me.
I do, and that's why you must share my pain. So, yeah. Come on, things we like. Things we bloody like. I do, even though I hate the fact the Daleks find out about the Doctor again so quickly. Like, their memory gets wiped of him at the start of Series 7, and then the Christmas special at the end of Series 7, they're like, we learned it from the church. And it's like, oh, okay, wow. So you didn't do anything with that while it was a thing then. Boring. However, I do like that they're the first ones to infiltrate the papal mainframes, gatherings. It makes sense that they would be the ones to infiltrate it. And it does, even though I don't like the design, I do like the fact that they go back to the Robo-Men thing from Asylum of the Daleks, when the silence and the soldiers outside, and then Tasha Lem's heads sprout those eye stalks.
Yeah, well...
Like, it's a fun twist moment, because you go, oh, the way she delivers that whole, I died in this room, screaming, and all that stuff, and you're like, oh, wait, what's happened to her? And then her head starts to crack open, and it's like, oh, that's very cool. I really like the music in this one. I think Murray does a gorgeous job. He does really well with the Christmas ones. They always sound really nice.
I guess it's because you can go like proper magical fairy tale-y kind of.
Yes, that's
and you can. It makes sense.
I love the way the TARDIS is shot in this one. Like the scenes in the TARDIS always feel like they're moving until they need to stop. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The director,
No.
Jamie Payne. The only scene in the TARDIS really in this one where it lingers is the regeneration scene.
Yeah.
Where it kind of allows those moments to focus on the two characters. Whereas every other time in this, it's like, oh, we're going down here to the thing, we're putting the stuff in there for the chicken. Oh, we're going here, we're bounding around the console. Do you know what I mean? It's very, we're off on an exciting adventure, and then the TARDIS becomes this still sitting monument in London that doesn't move. And then ends up back on Trenzalore and doesn't move and is covered in ice. And yeah, that stuff's lovely. I love his... okay. He's got a 2-part regeneration. I wish one of the showrunners at some point would go, do you know what? Here. And make a regeneration happen where it feels either right or more surprising.
What do you mean?
So, Eccleston's was surprising because unless you were a person who read the papers at the time and knew he was leaving after that series, you had no idea it was going to happen. So when they get in the console room, after everything's finished, them in rows, off they go. They've left, whatever station behind, and they're going to go off on their way. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he catches sight of his hand, and something's clearly going on, and he kind of is like, okay, and like starts to get her ready and say his goodbyes.
And he's a little bit in pain.
And he's in pain, but he dies sort of happy and grateful. I love it. Love that regeneration. It's one of my favourite. Like the Third Doctor's where he tries to comfort Sarah Jane and dies halfway through the sentence. Like that's so wonderful and upsetting and very real. You know what I mean? Tell Sarah Jane, no, don't cry. While there's life, his hand just fucking drops. Pardon my swearing. His hand fucking plummets. It's I love that, and the modern series I kind of wish did that more after Eccleston, but they don't. 10th Doctor, end of time, it's the end of an era, end of a big team who worked on the show, it's kind of a goodbye for everybody. So I get it, but even at the time, do you remember we were watching it go out and I was like, imagine if in the radiation chamber, Wilf goes out, the Doctor goes in, crumples, and then stands up, because at that point they hadn't set that every regeneration will be beaming light. And this one, funnily enough, is the only one that breaks that mould in the modern series.
Guess, yeah.
But like, well, it does it, but then the actual regeneration moment doesn't do that. But like, I imagine the stones on him if he'd crumpled up in the thing, and then stood up, and it was Smith.
Yeah.
And it was about trying to say goodbye to his friend when they've never really met.
Yeah.
And how odd that would be for Wilf, and like, oh, that's really, because then it's that thing of to Wilf, he did kill him. And they'd had that conversation earlier, like, I die and another man goes sauntering off, and it's like Wilf is then meeting the other man. And, but at the same time, I do like the end of time. It's big, it's cheesy, it's the end of an era of the show with the vibe of it. I get it, it works for what it is. As we said before, it's blockbuster telly.
Yeah.
I really wish they'd had the balls in this for old man Doctor at the top of the tower exploding into regeneration. Like, because apparently the Time Lords are like, cracking time in the sky, have a new regeneration cycle, Doctor. Again, we're not talking about the Timeless Children. Even if you want to retcon it, maybe the Time Lords, as they were at that point, had no idea about the conspiracy and the division and all that stuff, so they don't know that the Doctor's going to regenerate forever. Shut up. How do they give him a regeneration cycle? They can do that. Do you remember the story where that was established? Why would I help you? A whole new regeneration cycle. 12 regenerations, restored this, that, and the other. The 5 Doctors. That's what they offer the Master in exchange for helping get the Doctor out of the Death Zone and investigate what's going on.
Oh.
So they offer him a whole new regeneration cycle. 5 Doctors, of course, getting a massive shout out in this when the Doctor takes the seal of the Council that he took off of the Master in that story out of his pocket and puts it on handles to make sure that the signal is definitely the right one. It's like, I'm sorry, is that a seal of Razalon with some pearls glued to the outside of it? It is. It's exactly like the one from the 5 Doctors. That is a lovely little touch. I think he just mentions like I stole it from the Master on the Death Zone. In the Death Zone. Not important. And it's like, it's important to us. That's one of our favourites. Yay! But yeah, so the Doctor, the Gallifreyans, the Time Lords can do that. They can do that. It's not something they do often, because otherwise you'd have Time Lord presidents that rule forever. Like, but they can do it. I kind of wish they'd had the stones to let him have that big moment. And I do love his bravado and his I am too old for this shit that turns into, and if I've got to go, then you're coming with me. Like, at the end, it's lovely, that whole, never, did you just tell me the rules? That whole thing of like, oh, there's the one thing you don't do, because I'm going to bloody break them, mate. Love from Gallifrey boys and all that stuff, and him blasting out all the energy and basically eviscerating the Dalek fleet that's above Trenzalore, getting rid of it, and making sure that, the town of Christmas will be safe.
Yeah. Because
the crack then disappears, Gallifrey's seemingly gone. So they've got to find it again. Like, it's moved from that spot. I get why he just resetting before it's any moment now he's a coming. Like, I get it. They want you, the audience, to see the face that of the actor you've fallen in love with over the past few years in the role. I get it. Yeah? I totally get it.
Yeah.
Same reason to an extent why Tennant in The End of Time, like, does that thing where he comes out the booth and he goes like that, the hands on his face, and he brings them down and all of his scars and the blood has gone.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's starting. They've done that not because they're like, show it that he's already healing. They've done that so that you, the viewer, goes, yay, he looks like handsome David Tennant for the last 10 minutes. And that's what they've done with Smith here. I get it. Drinking some fish fingers and custard on the console. I get it. Hallucinating Amelia and then Amy. I get it. I wish they'd had the balls to just have what they allude to briefly. Clara comes back. There are clothes on the floor. And then the new guy shows up trying something on. Because I'd be like, what? Oh my god. The 11th Doctor went down in a blaze of glory. Looking like an old man. And owning it. Like, that's great. I love that. But, whatever. He has some lovely moments in his goodbye scene. Like, I love the whole, like, where he talks about moments fading, like, with, breath on a mirror is a lovely illusion. Moffat can write some very poetic stuff from time to time. Yeah. That's one. I love the bonus behind-the-scenes nonsense that both Matt and Karen are wearing wigs. When will they wear wigs? Have you worn wigs? Will you wear wigs?
Every time I hear the word wig, that's what
you think of that. You think of the Lord of the Rings pranks. Oh god! But like, do you know what I mean? It's hilarious when you realise that. You're like, ha! That's so funny. Like, she's taking a break from Guardians of the Galaxy to put a wig of her own hair on to go and say goodbye to her mate who's having to wear a wig because he's got no hair either. This is so funny.
She looked good though.
She did. She didn't look like Amy Pond.
She didn't. Which
is really strange to say because it's like, but it's Karen Gillan and she's wearing an outfit she wore in the show and it's a wig made of her own hair. Yeah, but Karen Gillan's face in the 2012 episodes, and Karen Gillan having spent months doing all the training and everything for Guardians of the Galaxy in like 2013, she's got a sharper jawline and different cheeks because like she's lost weight and toned in a way that like the younger Karen Gillan hadn't. So it's really weird. And I like the fact that Clara can't see who he's talking to because it's all in his head.
Yeah.
That's quite lovely. I think it would have been even lovelier if he was Old Man Doctor. Hell, have her go back to the TARDIS and Old Man Doctor is in there sat on the chair, like, catching his breath. Because do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would still have the same effect. But I guess they also wanted the contrast of the young-faced actor going to the older-faced actor. Because then we get the bit of the regeneration that I do like, which is just the snap. Like, he reassures her first. He's like, hey... Yeah. His last words are like, it's okay. It's okay. And then he boomf.
Yeah.
And it's Capaldi. We both hate the kidneys line, don't we? It's too random. Necessary. It's too random. Like, I love if he said, like, kidneys, I've got new kidneys. She's like, how do you know? He's like, because I know my kidneys. Just something like that. You'd be like, okay. But I don't like the colour. You're like, of your kidneys. But I love just... answer me one question. Do you happen to know how to fly this thing? That is a great cliffhanger for a regeneration with a companion present.
It's another TARDIS crashing.
Well, yes, this is now the third one in a row, and it won't be the last. But it's the first one. Actually, it's the only regeneration as of this taping. We're taping this in July. Well, yeah, July 2022. The Centenary Special's been and gone by now, so we don't know for sure. But as of this moment... I am the Doctor again. No. As of this moment, this is the only regeneration in the modern era where a companion has been present post-Eccleston.
Mm.
It's just that Rose was present for that. Clara was present for this. Tennant and Capaldi both regenerate on their own. Unless you count a hallucination of...
You mean Tennant and Smith?
No, Capaldi.
Oh, sorry, right.
Yeah, Smith he regenerates with... Yeah.
Right, sorry, right.
Yeah. Okay. So, you've got, I like that. I like the suddenness of that. I think that's great. I remember being very excited about Capaldi's casting at the time.
Yeah, I think we just watched the thick of it.
We binged it not long before, yeah.
Because we were like, Peter Capaldi, who is this man? Well, you knew who he was, but I didn't have a clue.
Yeah.
So we watched it and I was like, oh my god.
No, that was it. No, by this point we hadn't binged it.
Why am I strangely attracted to Malcolm Tucker?
We hadn't binged it by this point, but when we moved into this house after this Christmas special went out, before his first full series started, we binged the thick of it. Because it was all on Netflix at the time, so we flew through it.
And I'll tell you what, folks, it's very good.
It is very good. And he's very good.
He is fantastic in it.
Thoughts on his doctory stuff later.
It makes you think, wow, he's such a dynamic actor. He would be perfect to play the Doctor.
He's been a fan of it since he was a kid.
Exactly. And I'm sad now.
Well, we'll get to that when we do our next videos.
Done him dirty.
But overall, the Matt Smith era and Matt Smith's Doctor. This rewatch has just cemented how much love I have for Matt Smith as a performer.
Yeah.
He is excellent in this show, and when this show isn't the one for us, like when it's episodes where we're like, oh, for God's sake.
Yeah.
That he's in, he is head and shoulders the best thing in it.
He's the shining light in it, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, he's phenomenal. He's a very instinctive actor.
Yeah.
You can tell that, like Tom Baker especially, there's a lot of Matt Smith in his Doctor. Like, there's a few of the Doctors, you look at their performances and you see them as actors in other things and doing interviews and you go, yeah, there's, like, this is kind of you. Tom Baker is a great example. Sylvester McCoy is a great example. Eccleston, whether he admits it or not, there is quite a lot of him in there. And there's a lot of Matt Smith in his Doctor. Like, it's just him. It's Matt Smith.
Yeah.
And as a result, it's a very natural, very organic, very magnetic take on the character. The only stuff I've ever disliked with him has been plot things or lines where he's been a bit pervy for some reason, and that's not down to him.
That's not down to him, yeah. Having seen him in other things now...
I mean, just this week, we watched Last Night in Soho for the first time.
He's in my bad books. He was naughty in that film.
He's frightening.
That's a great film.
He's scary in that movie. He's a scary boy.
And like seeing him in The Crown and things like that.
Yeah.
He really is such a good actor. And he's massive. He's really tall. Getting in that lift with him and Jenna Coleman. Jenna Coleman, sorry, at the 50th.
Oh, you guys shared a lift, didn't you?
Yeah, it was you.
I wasn't in that lift. It was you and Guy. You and Guy shared a lift with.
Slowly dying inside because we're like,
It's the Doctor and Clara. Well,
I've got to say there was no chemistry between them.
To be fair, you were in a lift with them. They were probably just tired and going from location to location.
At all.
I like their dynamic.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
I think we've been very lucky in this era as well to have the Doctor and Clara in their one half series together being very enjoyable.
Yeah.
And his chemistry with Arthur and Karen being so strong that even when the Ponds feel surplus to the show's requirements, or like they're just being put through drama that doesn't really do anything for the series but just seems to be there to give them something to do, the chemistry between the three actors is very, very good. So I think we've been lucky. I think we've been very lucky with Smith overall.
Yeah.
I'm going to miss him.
I am going to miss him.
But what about you guys? What do you think of the 11th Doctor's era? And specifically, what do you think of Time and the Doctor? Let us know in the comments down below.
Just a quick shout out.
Yeah.
Bernard Cribbins just passed away.
In real time. So like a year ago, everyone. Just in case you're only just learning this, sorry.
So just a little shout out to how amazing he was.
To Bernard. Bless him. He's digging a hole. Reference to his song, not a grave.
Wow.
Yeah.
Get out of your hole. Wait.
Sorry, I'm just yeah, no.
Oh, God.
Slight format change going forward. We're going to be trying something a little bit different. We are going to be going back to the format of the classic series in that we're going to try and condense a lot more into shorter videos to keep us on track from rambling, and also just to make it easier for recording, because it's got to the point where doing like a video for every 3 episodes of a series is just a little tough for turnaround. Like, it's a lot of work for a short binge, because we'd stick an episode on and then go, so what's the next one? Yeah, alright, go on, let's watch the next one. And then we'll watch 3, and then it's like, Christ, we've got to record now. So, going forward, with the next 2 seasons are both 12 episode seasons. So we're going to be doing 3 videos per season. So 4 episodes in each of the videos. We're still going to be doing
tradition.
We're still going to be doing. The dog is attacking, not Chris. We're still going to be doing bonus episodes when they're relevant, and we're still going to be doing the Christmas episodes as separate episodes as well. But so in case you're like, hang on, why is there a bit? Why is there a slightly bigger gap between videos? It's because we're going to be covering more per video. Oh dear Lord. I'm going to go before the dog eats my wife. Good Lord. We'll always remember when my wife's nose was there.